We love hearing that sound because that means it's going down. We're in the lab. Draft profiles, Cravante, for 2025. We're continuing. And this time we go to Texas A&M. We stay in SEC, but we switch it up a little bit. Shemar Stewart. Boy, is he dominant. We talk about the defensive line, the front seven. If you want a guy on the front seven in this draft, this is where you can get him.
Every year we have one or two, and sometimes three, players that really benefit from the combine. And especially since as of late, like the top tier guys usually aren't really performing like that, it gives opportunities for guys like, Shemar Stewart to up their draft status, and they fly up draft boards. Um, and this is definitely, and Stewart is definitely one of those guys that's benefiting from this. He has pretty much like all the measurables. He checks the physical box, what you're looking for from a edge, defensive line, defensive end player. Um, he's 6'5", so he's tall, about 260, between 260 and 270. And he can really line up really everywhere, anywhere on the defensive line. So great size, great lift, and great athleticism. I believe he has a 40-inch, vert, if I'm not mistaken, and he could damn near do broad jump 11 feet, damn near. I think it's like 10, 11, something like that. So pretty much we're talking about 11 feet. So that's great from somebody who's 6'5", 260. Great bursts, great power. He has that. He has great power at an elite level. He can set the edge, man. It's not many guys that we can say that play on the edge that's like, hey, a strength of theirs is setting the edge, because that setting the edge is one of those things that we don't talk about, because we don't talk about the running game a lot, because again, the passing league, the running game aspect. Does he have a 10 in the relative athletic score?
It's maybe my new favorite nerd stat, and
It's the new
yeah.
thing. It's the new favorite. It's our new favorite stat. It just says his athletic ability is off the charts. He's checking off all the physical and athletic boxes for somebody who you want in your front seven, on your defense, on your defensive line. Now, production, you'll get into that, because his stats may not necessarily measure up to what we're seeing, but the potential is absolutely there. And he's still running in the 4.5s, even though 40-yard dash is not really a front seven stat. It's cool to have, because you do have guys like Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels that can get out and run. So being able to chase those guys down from behind is a great stat. I mean, it's a great tool to have. But I'm sure you'll get into the more specifics. But he's a freak of nature, as you can see from the RAS, relative athletic score, our new favorite stat. He is a 10 out of 10.
Junior out of Texas A&M, another one. 6'5", runs a 4.5, 40-inch vertical, as you said, 34.8-inch arms. So that's really
What?
good.
What?
10-foot, 11-inch broad jump, so almost 11 feet, as you said. 2022, 23 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. 2023, 11 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. This past season, 2024, 31 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. But, Cravante, 39 pressures. I don't know if that's good or bad considering he only had 1.5 sack. You mentioned the production. He has missed some tackles and doesn't have the best instincts, maybe, but the measurables, man. Somebody's going to draft him. Just like we said about Mike Green and a lot of these other guys, Emin Worry or Malachi Starks, they're going to
Yeah,
draft them off of the athletic ability of what they could be. Mr. Jahad Campbell, Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, we can go on and on.
absolutely. So, like I was saying, if we're going to go to his weaknesses, his stats aren't there. You know what I'm saying? Like his measurables, tape, and stats. It's like, well, this is elite, but this is mid, and this is average. What is he? But we from his RAS and his measurables and all that, the potential to be elite is there. The athleticism and physical traits are already elite, but you said 1.5 sacks, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 sacks. He get the 5 sacks in his career? That's it's kind of absurd to have that type of physicality and athletic ability, and you have 5 sacks in 3 years. Is kind of crazy. But would you say 39% win rate?
39 pressures. 39 pressures.
39 pressures. That's elite level pressure because and this is something where it's not all about stats, especially when you're playing in a defense, playing defense, just like offense. It's a team. This is a team sport. Everybody's not gonna get the sacks, but if everybody's able to create pressure, you can turn a lot of those, and those things can be turned into turnovers, and those aren't necessarily things just like pressure rate. How long has pressure rate been a stat? Like that's still a relatively
Last
new stat.
2 or 3 years.
You know what I'm saying? That's still a stat, but that's just something else to give defensive players who don't get the regular stats, like the tackles and the sacks. Pressure rate, winning pressure rates is a stat now. So it's something you can point to, like I'm causing havoc, I'm causing disruption because I'm winning my one-on-one battles and I'm making the quarterback move. That's now a stat, and I think it's a good measurable stat for defenders because it's only going to be 1 sack per play, but everybody could legit get a pressure every play though. You know what I'm saying? Only one person going to get a sack. So you like to see you would like to see more stats, but like I said, with his potential is absolutely through the roof. And the hardest thing this defensive coordinator is going to do is the hardest thing that this defensive coordinator is going to have to do, whoever drafts him, is figuring out where to put him, because he can go anywhere on the defensive line, but how can you not put him at edge? Like how could you not? I feel like that's where a lot of his snaps are going to come from. But every now and then, defensive coordinator may switch it up, and he may go up the A gap or line up over the center or line up in the B gap. So he has some versatility with that. But I think his biggest weakness is that his stats aren't there, and he needs to get with somebody to have a better arsenal of pass rushing moves. But he checks so many boxes, he's going to get drafted off of that alone.
Only a win rate of 11.8%. So that's a new stat, like you said. So not the highest, but as we see, a perfect 10 on the RAS. So where do you see him going in your pro comp, Cavante?
Man. Where do I see him going? He's probably a mid round. He's probably mid first. I think somewhere in that, that 11, 18 range. He goes somewhere in there. Let's see where I have him ranked in, because he's on the D line, but he could also be edge. So that's also kind of crazy. Yeah, probably late first at worst, but probably mid to late first round.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing to see if the production scares teams away and he falls, maybe if he's there in
Sure.
the maybe 20s, because of the numbers. And yeah, he's athletic, but the sacks. So it'll be interesting to see what team believes more in the combine numbers or the RAS than maybe the tape of the production per se.
Sure. And also, the pressure you said he had 39 pressures, but his
Yes,
win rate I believe was
11.8%.
so that's something that would have to get up, because it's like your win rate isn't great, but you have a lot of pressures. So you know, but again, off his size alone, he's gonna get drafted. He I think he's still a first round pick. It's just where he goes. And look at it, guy check out the tape and look at his physicality. It's like, oh boy, this he's definitely gonna be drafted, and he's gonna be he has to get with a defensive coordinator and maybe a D-line coach or somebody that's really gonna get with him. You know what I'm saying? Because the potential's through the roof. He could be a Pro Bowler.
And sometimes we see guys who don't produce in college come into the NFL and go off. And sometimes
All
it just
the
depends.
time. All the time. And wait, he went to Texas A&M.
Yes.
Where did Myles Garrett go?
He also went to Texas A&M. Now that you say that, and Myles Garrett, I mean, he was a #1 pick, but I didn't really know Myles Garrett like that before he got drafted.
Yeah, and he also benefited from coming out in a weak quarterback draft class. You know what I'm saying? But Myles Garrett ended up. I didn't think he was going to be. You know what I'm saying? With
Hall of Fame,
Hall of
one of the
Fame.
best of our generation.
In the first 5 years, I was like, but unfortunately he plays for the Browns, so that's that's the thing. But I didn't think he was all right. First overall pick, cool, but to be as dominant as a defender as he's been, yeah, I definitely didn't see Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Fame. First 5 years, he's Hall of Fame talent. So maybe he could fall in. He won't be the number 1 overall pick, but maybe he can go in the footsteps of Myles Garrett production wise.
Always be interesting to see how these individuals play out. Cravante, we're going to keep churning out these draft profiles. My God, a lot of prospects to talk about. Go ahead.
One more thing. He also reminds me of a former #1 overall pick who did not really live up to the hype, and a guy that played for your team fairly recently, and Mr. Clowney.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully, I did just compare him to Clowney and Myles Garrett in the same, pretty much the same breath, and that's two really too extreme. Not to say that Clowney was a bust, but he didn't quite live up to. Let's say this: I would have thought Clowney had a similar career path to Myles Garrett.
Agreed.
If that makes any sense.
Agreed. It'll be interesting to see where Mr. Stewart goes. But like we say, the Eagles and these teams that make deep runs, they take these athletic guys, and you know how we would love to run up to the board and take a guy like that.
Easy. But I will say this: there is going to be some people, some young men with great talent that's going to fall, because it's so many guys that's like has similar ratings and things like that in certain positions that may not be as sexy, but somebody's going to fall to that bottom part of the first round. So unfortunately, I feel like the Eagles are going to get somebody good, but I feel like the Ravens are going to get somebody good. The Commanders are going to get somebody good if the Commanders stay, because I'm hearing we may trade out, because we only have 5 picks in the whole draft. So Adam Peters is going to try to recoup some picks somewhere. But depending on who at 29, man, listen, you might got to take the guy. But it's going to be fun and interesting to find out.
Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, sack it like Shemar Stewart, hit that thumbs up, leave us a like, comment down below, draft profiles, who you want us to cover, your thoughts on a specific prospect. And this is the home and the only place giving you that draft coverage in sports. Cravante on the Flex Zone. How you want it?
When you need it.
Stay tuned for more draft profiles right here on the Flex Zone.